Sheremeta, and actually Timothy Briggs suggested that I moderate this discussion. It was a surprise for me and for you probably. I was saying that we need to rush to work faster, and while we are drinking coffee here, our enemies are producing weapons. So we need to keep up with the schedule, with the agenda. We cannot be late. Dear friends, let's start working. That's important because you just mentioned the problems we'd like to address. Look, we have a list of participants. I won't change it, even though I don't see logic in it. Ksenia Semenova, Acting Rector of National Innovation University, Timothy Brik, Rector of the Kyiv School of Economics, Yaroslav Prikulov, First Pro-Rector of the Catholic University, Anatoly Manichelko, Rector of Kyiv Polytechnic Institute, Alexander Azhikovsky, Rector of Dnipro Polytechnic Institute, Professor, PhD. The majority of you are probably professors. Irina Volnitska, President of that university. So I'm reading. And last but not least, Irina Volnitska again, once again, President of SCT University. If it's okay with you, I will try to speed up our discussion. We just heard the pain points of business. I could see the reaction of all the rectors. Many of them were taking notes. So I have two questions and 3 minutes for everyone. Then we're going to have a round of questions for the audience, and then we'll wrap up. The first question is, how is your institution different? What differentiates your institution? Because we don't want to be as everyone else. We want to be unique. And how does it correlate with the pain points the business representatives mentioned? How do you address these pain points the business representatives mentioned? Ms. Rector? Thank you. We mentioned startups today. Actually, the majority of startups deal with such a notion as the death volley, and they actually need to address this issue. We understood that if we do not change our approaches, if we don't find a different model in terms of management, in terms of cooperation with business, in terms of ideology, and in general our mission in the society. And I agree that universities work, first of all, in the interests of the society and the state. So if we do not do it, we will just stop our operation. So that's why we participated in this double experiment. We are transforming into this state non-profitable enterprise. It makes us plan differently, manage differently, and change many business processes inside the university. The companies that were represented in the previous panel were speaking about their own experience of cooperating with universities, and they are often negative. I think I know why, because very often these cooperations exist in a parallel reality because the approaches that the business representatives suggest are not part of the models of the universities, and not often the courses they suggest become integral part of the educational process, and the laboratories that are set up are not always open for the students. The projects often exist just for the managers of these projects. Uh, or thanks to them. And very often the processes depend on the personalities. Of course, many things depend on people, but the personalities cannot be the key point. So we need to um, develop new models. Some of them we take from the foreign examples. We cannot teach students to develop startups if the atmosphere and the model of interaction at universities do not uh, work as a startup. If your accountant department at universities are not client oriented, the people in the system cannot be client oriented. You cannot teach students to be digital if your own administration uses a paper system. Um, they might get this experience in some companies from other sources, but it's very important to reshape the processes. The project we are currently implementing is related not only to the students, it's about the system of management in the university. It's about the system of transfer of technologies, how the scientific studies can be requested from our university, how we register ownership, how we found startups at the university. We don't have answers to all the questions, but we really try to find them. So it's an appeal to the business environment. I know that there were many negative examples with the universities, but we need your expertise. We need you for internships, for the programs of dual education. So we would like to ask you to come to our system of management and advise what's wrong with it. And many people from the state and from the business help us. We really need this synergy now. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Acting Rector. And thank you for being part of your huge experiment. Actually, there is the notion of secular acceleration as opposed to secular stagnation. And Timothy Brick, the floor is yours. You have 3 minutes, Rector of the Kyiv School of Economics. Thank you. What differentiates us? First, figures. Before the full-scale invasion, we had 150 students. Now we have over 1,000. We have now 17 programs as opposed to 6 before the full-scale invasion. So we keep growing, we keep opening new directions in engineering, law, psychology, and we are also different because we have a different governance. We are a group of universities. Forbes recently wrote that we are in top 5 foundations in Ukraine, and this management approach really helps us. As to the role of business, it was really hard to see this asymmetric reality on our market. some people are looking for talents and cannot find them. Others say that we have talents, but no one wants them. And if you look at the consolidated ranking, the first private university is Academy of Management, but we all know it's not the reality. So how can we move forward with these facts? There is this asymmetric reality, and I think that all those who are gathered here really deal very well with it. They address this problem really well because we work with the market and we try to find the directions that are useful for everyone. We call it alignment. If we see that the market needs it and the state needs it, we try to move in the respective direction. We opened the program for engineers, and we need to go until the end. We need to make sure that the graduates have great results, and we need to assess the real results, the performance. We do not need to divide universities according to their form of ownership, according to their legacy. We need to support those who work well. We have an alliance of Ukrainian universities. There are private and state-owned universities there. We all work together. We just need to be honest about the results and the quality of performance. Thank you. Alignment is a great word, and it's interesting that you're using it in English. Yaroslav Pritulov, first prorector of Ukrainian Catholic University. You are adding this religious aspect into our mixture of universities. The floor is yours. Thank you, Pavlo. We were speaking about Mria application. Probably the next one is going to be belief, because we all want to believe that dreams come true. If we need to describe universities in one word, I think it would be a startup, because our university is like a startup. We are going to celebrate 30 years of our restored activity, and the number of startups we produce is enormous. We keep growing, we cooperate with business. We could see a map of how business should cooperate with universities, and we actually covered all the points, and we can add a few other options of possible cooperation. Until recently, I was head of the faculty of applied science, and we had some ideas as to employment, but actually, educating a great engineer is not a complicated task, but we want to address the issues that haven't been addressed yet, and we can actually create new places of employment. We can create startups, we can change the existing companies, we can teach new students, which also means adding new places in the economy. So one of the goals is creating leaders who can create new working places. Sometimes we call them leaders, and we want to have true leaders. Now, one of the things we experiment with, and I'm really grateful to Ms. Natalia, who was speaking about the importance of social sciences and philosophy for engineers. So we want to try implementing liberal arts and sciences education. It's when we try to answer questions thinking out of box. it's when we want our students to approach different problems by thinking out of the box. And we want our students to start their studies at universities without committing to certain problems. We want our children to grow up at the university, and we think the solution is liberal arts and sciences. We call them adults. Thank you. As to the creation of working places, it's basically about the market of innovations. It's the key way, and the next speaker is going to be Anatoly Melnichenko. The previous universities cooperate with startups or are startups. As to the Polytechnic Institute, we need more information. Anatoly Melnichenko. Thank you. Hello, dear colleagues. First of all, I'd like to comment on what we started with. Actually, the state universities will never disappear, will never die. If we do not kill them, they won't die. Secondly, another Timothy said that either it's a private institution or a state-owned institution, we can keep developing and keep working. So how is the Kyiv Polytechnic Institute different from all the others? We probably are not a startup, but we were the first ones to open a startup school in Ukraine to scale up this initiative in many other universities. We were the first ones to create a startups festival, and we are trying to develop an innovative platform, Sikorsky Challenge. Our university actually has many directions, even though many people know it as a technical one. We teach engineers who not only comply with the needs of the business environment. Alexander said that if the state is the customer, it's not good. But, excuse me, isn't the state a customer of specialists in atomic energy? Business, excuse me to say that, business will be a customer of those who they need. Of course, our university is different because it has been cooperating with business for a long time, and we already forgot about what others only start thinking about. Such things like needs of the market. We published a monography on the needs of the market a long time ago. Let's speak about 2024. Yes, of course. Sorry, but the result is nothing without a trend that led to this result. I'd like to say that not only we try to implement this dual approach, dual education. We have 70 agreements on dual education, which means that we cooperate with responsible businesses who are ready to interact while preparing specialists. And of course, there is a range of things that are related to foresight education. Not only we need to correspond to the current requests, we need to understand what will be the demands in 5 years. In addition, I'd like to add that we are speaking about the business and the university, but we forget that business has to focus on universities, but also on schools. In Ukraine, only 7,000 children were having tests in physics and only 3,000 in maths. And it's a dire result for the country that wants to have more technical specialists. Thank you. Alexander Yasukovsky, probably you have some answers from Dnipro Polytechnic Institute, because we have a demographic crisis plus immigration. How do you deal with these issues? Well, to be brief, I'd like to thank the organizers for this great event. Uh, our difference is in the following. Those who want to achieve something are looking for measures, and those who don't are looking for reasons. We at Dnipro Polytechnic Institute try to create this single entry point, and actually it results in R&D laboratories that businesses set up at our university. And actually, we have such partners as GlobalLogic, SoftServe, DTech, Interpipe, and many others, big and small brands who have labs where students come and where engineering thought is living. And according to the calculations of our foreign partners, over 70 people are employed in Germany, in Bosch, in Siemens, in Mercedes, in companies accompanying these businesses. Our professors have an active stance and have an impact on future. Starting from the 1st of September, we launched a storage system of 130 kilowatts, and you understand that launching such a project requires 24 months of work in front of us. So can we make prognosis about the future? Yes, we know how to do it. And we can do it in the labs through joint work with our partners and through the dual education programs. It means that we have competitive programs and they are open for the students starting from their second year of studies. Our partners can come and be sure that they will get great students. Such universities that are visible on the engineering horizon make a great impact too. We have an honor to be a part of the Alliance of Universities. We teach from our partners, Kyiv School of Economics, Sumy State University.
We also talk to the Polytechnical. They are diamonds in the educational school. Dnipro Polytechnica is a space for your victories. It's a space that nurtures talent and a space that creates a future. And you can see for yourself, everything's going to be great. Thank you so much. I see, Irina, you were so happy when it was about differentiation because at university, everything it has is differentiation. So to wrap up the session, Irina, and we'll take two questions from the audience. If somebody's ready, come up with your questions. So everybody, hello. I don't even know what to start from. During the first panel from businesses, I was thinking there. I was there. The whole background of my team is a business background. We've seen all those problems that there are, and we thought, all right, we'll come over, and change the higher education. But in all of these almost 3 years of working in education has changed me a lot. Because education is not only about technology, about engineering. It's primarily about critical thinking. It's about shaping us human beings, the mindset of human beings. And there's not enough of these things. There should be more of these in education. As Timothy said, that all right, before the war, they had one indicators, and now during the war, they've increased those indicators. Before the large-scale invasion, we didn't exist at all. So 2 months before large-scale invasion, we announced at the start of our university. 7 days before I registered my legal entity, then I went to vacation and I was stuck abroad. And at the start of May, we returned. We pivoted 3 times because I couldn't return in time to get the license from Ministry of Education. So we know all too well how a startup sometimes has to pivot. Plus, we borrowed all the best business practices. What we have right now, our students, we are a technology high school. We teach technologies, but not just technologies, but technologies that start business. We teach product-based mindset. We teach how to create value added in Ukraine. Our startups, they don't write a standard diploma paper. They create their own startup business. In each of our technology programs, there is entrepreneurship track, which takes almost the same share as all the other tracks. We teach entrepreneurship to everyone, and we teach soft skills to everyone. Because again, the market of the future is 5 years is the longevity of the skill. It's not enough just to teach a person to code, and it's not about university. We have to teach them to learn, how to learn all the time, how to create the future technologies. So that's our philosophy. We are now implementing it in each program. And if we talk about results, we haven't yet graduated our first masters, but we have 3 startups with our American partners. Tesla, Uber, the founders, we raised $2 million. Then they said these are one of the first American monies this year that entered Ukraine and are ready to open businesses in Ukraine. All of our revenues, they go to education of our students, the stipendiums and scholarships for the military and people from the army. The second startup is our teacher with students. And the third startup that we also soon will be starting a partnership that we'll announce soon with the founder, with the Unicorn founder. He's a entrepreneur who teaches in our high school, and we'll create another startup based in the university, and it's going to be in 2.5 years since our university was founded. 90% of our teachers are practitioners from the businesses. We're very applied oriented university, but I thought I would be solving the business's problems, but it is work in education that provided me an opportunity to see these fundamental problems that where business cannot be a client. They're one of the stakeholders. There are many customers, in fact, but the main contractor of our services is society. Technology is the future. We need to teach people how, with the help of technologies, to rebuild Ukraine. And fundamental things like ethics, critical thinking, analytical thinking is also all that universities have to help with. Thank you. It's a great wrap up. So, ask a question. Whom do you address your question? I would ask everyone. No, just one person. Then I would ask the director of Dnipro Polytechnicum. The young generation is now in the habit of consuming very short content, but the university is very long. People don't read. So did you think that maybe somehow to capture this trend, but not go against it? So do some reform that would reform content in universities and provided the way that the young people are learning nowadays. Thank you. Thank you so much. I stopped at the moment right now my professional deformation to answer your question as a lecture for an hour. No, we've already done first steps, made first step, because an example of DID project where with our partners from Germany, we implemented remote access to improve technical skills to learn robotics, mechatronics. So that's for modern young generation. As you can also see our TikTok channel, our Instagram channels to see how we are trying to navigate among this audience. That's what we're doing, exactly what you're saying. Because you know, to teach complex math, meaning losing your audience. But if you show a robot that actually works, and now you can learn an integral equation, and then ask all the questions. So we are tentatively trying this content, and together with our students and employers, we shape this new educational content, which is short attention span oriented. I'm not confident that education has to entertain only. Sometimes the business that you start is not only entertainment. When you design some product and you're working on this, you have to apply effort to that. You have to sometimes, you know, take effort. It's not 10-second TikTok video, but it also films are now very long, 3 hours. The TV shows, binge watching, so it's not always short attention span. Of course, the education has to answer the question, why do you need it? But not always entertainment, because students expect entertainment everywhere. University's first role is to teach, apply effort to achieve some results. And yeah, there is some challenge, and I think it's hard to work with, but we don't give up. Other than education, you also have to pay effort, and it makes your life easier after university. Thank you, Yaroslav, for very short. We're trying to apply engineering thinking and to provide it to other specialties, so see the startup to the end, to closure, because we often stop at the level of declaration of ideas. But one of the programs is interns for students as assistants on younger years students. So that dismantles that wall. They understand how it is to be a teacher. Is it quick attention span or long attention span? So learning to teach yourself. And final question. Right, thanks a lot, Alexander from Genesis. My question to Anatoly, because we're not familiar yet with most of your team. We work quite a lot. It's exactly the team that is proactive, very interested and motivated, talking about modern education. We've heard today about the demand from universities to the companies, helping them analysis and feedback for educational trajectories. So it'd be great to understand how this group cooperates with others, how should it do effectively, so that we can hear you, you can hear us. Great. So if you want to add to this, you have 1 minute. Well, basically, we don't need to invent the bicycle. It's already existing, and in the large part, the vocational programs, who we call stakeholders, they are quite active in different formats. Both in discussion, and as I said, that we are annually, since 2005, we're studying the labor market. We receive the feedback from employers, and we see what's missing, not only technical knowledge, but full skill set, communication, working with documents, etc., etc. So the formats can be any format. So we're ready to cooperate in order for you to understand that universities are happy to and willing to help you to provide a high quality product not only currently, but for the future as well. So I will ask Timothy, Natalia, would you like to add something? Yeah, I would like to add. It's a. Usually, companies say that universities are lagging behind because we're not trying to work with companies, but it's not about Genesis. With Genesis, everything's okay, but we often get into this bureaucracy circle where first it's a signing memorandum, then getting 1,000 other documents. So we found a better, easier approach. We work with not only with companies, but we work with subject matter experts who keep curriculum for us. We then give it to a community to check it. Then we pass it over to our international partners for verification. And this program is always agile because often, technologies change faster than materials are written. And so our programs are always agile and businesses updated regularly, sometimes through subject matter experts. Thank you. And Timothy, as the host, well, it's just an example. Remember, I told you about asymmetry. It's hard just to know whether you have a great university as a partner or not. In the world around, especially in the US, they say there are 3 parameters that we can evaluate students, faculty, research. The great students, great faculty. Is there scientific research there? Just to see that, and then that's all you have to know. If there are adequate people, then we will work with them. We'll sign a memorandum, we'll write the program, everything's going to be. If there's no students, faculty, research, run. That's all I say. Yeah, that was outside of our panel discussion, which was wrapped at 1935. And no officer president has stood in the way, but it was happened thanks to quick work of our panelists, Yaroslav Petera, Anatoly Menchenko, Alexander Zykovsky, Irina Volnitska. A round of applause. Thank you so much. I'll pass the mic back to the host and the next session.